And good morning. Welcome into today's Nutrition here on Unforgettable 1220 and Classic Hits 99.7. Chris Roberts here with you on this Sunday morning. And with us today, Deb Ford, MSRD of the Good Earth Health Food Shop on South Shannon Street, and Dr. Ian Rainey, Doctor of Chiropractic. Good morning, folks. How are you doing this morning?
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Well, good. I asked the question here at the outset of the show then. What is it we're talking about today?
You know, we always talk about how bad sugar is for us. So today we thought we would give some tips on how to slay that sugar dragon that makes you want it more and more.
You know, we do always talk about how sugar is bad for you, and we don't really give people oftentimes a viable alternative, or even some people are so addicted to it, you have to almost wean them off of it. It's sort of a reconstruction of the way they look at things, and food especially.
Right. And I wish I could say that craving for sugar is always going to totally go away, but it's always going to be there. But there are so many things that we can do nutritionally and by keeping the blood sugar steady that it can help a great deal.
Yeah, and when you say it might always be there, that's just because it's an addictive substance.
It is. And so once you get back at it, your brain just lights up. And, you know, I always tell people about the study they did with sugar and cocaine, because they saw that when they put people in functional MRI machines and gave them a little bit of sugar, they saw how the brain lit up. So from that, some studies went on to show how it does really hit the addictive centers of the brain. So they did these poor little rats. You know, they're always doing tests on these poor little rats. So they got them addicted to not only sugar, but also cocaine. And then they withdrew both of those substances and then gave them the choice, and they went directly to the sugar.
Surprise.
Yeah. So it is more addictive than a lot of the other substances out there.
Well, I think it's also important to point out, though, that because people listening to this show, people who know you think, well, you've never been addicted to sugar. You've never used this stuff. How do you know what I'm going through?
How do I say that?
Yeah, I mean, have you ever? Let me ask you this question: have you ever looked forward to getting off of work so that you could go home and have something that was sweet, some sort of ice cream or brownie or cookie or candy bar or something like that?
No. I'll tell you what I have. Because I've been doing this for 40 years. My whole history is in insulin resistance and having problems with that. I mean, I grew up with a total love for carbohydrates, and it was giving me serious health problems at a very young age.
But we're all genetically different, and some people can handle grains and sugars better than other people.
Yes, and in my family genetics, and like a lot of us, our ancestors have been able to survive many sieges of famine and starvation. So my body is just very tuned, like a lot of us, that those carbs set up, and it was causing a lot of problems for me.
So you had some medical problems. Do you attribute those directly to sugar, or just?
Well, yes, and at the time, medically, we didn't really know that what I had was associated to excess intake of sugars, and the sugars were not like just your regular dextrose, your table sugar. It was honey, it was maple syrup, it was natural things, fruits, things like that.
So it wasn't Snickers bars.
No, not that. I wasn't in junior high and high school. I mean, that's my favorite thing was to go to Butler's Bakery and just get a big sinker and then crash that afternoon.
Now you're relating to people. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to tie your experiences in with the experience that people have who just can't give up sugar because they like it.
Right. Like it. Oh, my gosh. And then I wonder why, I was always in a bad mood. I was a difficult child, and, not a happy camper.
Wow. What a breakthrough we're having here on the radio.
Yeah. And so, figuring out that I needed to eat differently, then attitude changed, ability to handle stress changed. There's just so many subtle things that we really don't pay attention. I mean, the brain is so hardwired for the nutrients that come in, that it's turning things on, turning things off, your stress response, your memory, your desire to have a lot of things in your life, all has to do with the foods that we take in.
Okay, so we've established that you're normal, and that because they're really, I mean, I'm serious. There are a lot of people who think, well, the lady that runs that health food shop out there, she's not normal. She doesn't do the same things that we do. I have people who ask me, "You're married to her." I have people that say to me, "What do you're not allowed to eat any of that stuff in your house, are you? I mean, there's probably nothing in there at all that isn't made out of soybeans." And I say, yeah, there are lots of things, and there are ways to do it. So that's the important thing. And Dr. Rainey, I mean, everybody's confessed here. You might as well confess. What's your weakness? Sugar?
No, it's not sugar, and the reason is because I had a lot of problems as well. And when I think of sugar in my mind, I associate pain to that sugar rather than a wonderful bar or something.
Huh.
So and the human
fatigue.
Yeah, and human psychology, it really boils down to we seek pleasure, avoid pain. And if you really associate pain with something, then you will avoid it.
So it's just a matter of reprogramming.
So how do we reprogram? Now we're talking with people who absolutely positively love ice cream, they love cake, they love cookies, they love brownies. And just my talking about it gets them excited about going to find some. So what do we do with those people?
Well, I think we should tackle some of the things that cause those cravings. So, first of all, we can make it, how do I say, less pleasurable for you, less addictive.
Right. And the more you have it, the more you want it. Yeah. So maybe instead of...
Well, that is because sugar actually strips a lot of your minerals that you need. So your body says, I need more. So it's trying to get those
things that have been stripped out, like chromium. Chromium is so important that a lot of combinations of minerals are going to resupply those things that are really important for maintaining good blood sugar levels. So chromium, along with vanadium, little magnesium, goes a long way to helping the cravings and supporting you nutritionally.
So are you telling me through supplemental use, like the supplements that you can get over the counter,
absolutely.
You can actually reduce or eliminate your cravings for sugar?
Yes. Part of a comprehensive plan, yes. Very important.
And, it is funny, we try to avoid refined grains and things like that. But in the process of refining them, they lose things. And that's why a lot of companies will fortify foods. And they actually do put chromium back in breads and grains. So, sometimes people are avoiding those completely. They may not.
It's going to be even worse.
It is. It's going to be worse. So you really want to look at the foods that you're eating and make sure you're getting, enough chromium. And if you're not, supplement with it.
So other than, have we talked about the benefits of other than weight loss of not eating sugar?
Yeah. Diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and other dementias, all of those things are related to your sugar intake.
Yeah, all peer-reviewed literature. There's been many studies done on each one of those topics.
Yep, and not a single one ever showed that sugar was good for us.
So it's not some crazy left field opinion. It's bona fide stuff.
Sugar intake has just skyrocketed in the last 30 years. And in fact, the new government guidelines, they're hotly debating it right now. They absolutely are going away from cholesterol and targeting sugars and added sugars. But there was just a lot of lobbying to keep direct targeting of pops and things like that. There was a lot of lobbying.
This is a continuous education process for most people. So there are people who are listening right now who say, well, pop, I don't drink the sugar pop. I know you can get real sugar in Pepsi products, I think, and some others. So I go for the high fructose corn syrup. Now, that's not the same thing, they say. Well, it's true that people say that. They don't know,
Yeah, well...
But it is the same thing, and even worse in some cases. Is that right?
Almost anything that ends with OSE is a sugar.
Yes.
Dextrose, maltose, high fructose.
Yes,
sucrose.
All those OSEs. And even the fake sugars are something we want to keep to a minimum. If you're going to make any kind of choices, the one that I find that people get along best with is going to be stevia. Comes from a plant rather than chemistry.
Mm-hmm. And when you get the stevia, now that stevia is becoming more popular and more people are buying it, well, of course, now people are more supplying it. And in doing so, they're making variations of stevia. And if you look at the ingredients, make sure it doesn't have dextrose. Make sure it doesn't have maltodextrin or maltose.
Right.
And they're sneaking sugar into the stevia product.
So are there actual recipes for cookies and things like that use stevia?
Yeah, there are. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just go on the internet and look at a lot of great. I mean, there's a lot of great recipes out there.
So we're going to support with minerals that have been stripped out to help with the cravings. We're going to maybe decrease radically your added sugars and use more of the stevia, things like that. There's also some herbs that are going to be really good at helping with cravings. My favorite one is gymnema, which literally translates into sugar destroyer. Been used in India for thousands of years. And it has an effect on the beta cells in the pancreas. So it is really good for diabetics, type 1 and type 2, that is going to have a tonic effect on the pancreas. So it's really, really good. Love that gymnema. In fact, if you crush the leaves or if you have a liquid extract, if you put it on your tongue and then eat sugar afterwards, you cannot taste the sugar. So not only on the taste buds, but in the body, it keeps your body from recognizing
it's beginning to sound like Narconon. I don't know if
you're... Well, I'll give you an example. There was actually a doc who had used that. He actually used gymnema, and he would have his patients, if they liked Snickers bars, he would have them eat their Snicker bar. But he would say, you know what? I don't want you to have one. I want you to have 3, but do this beforehand. And then all they could taste was the waxy. There was no taste to it.
Yeah, that's a good way to kick the addiction. It doesn't taste good.
At the end of the show here, put on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as someone's health is concerned, and we're talking generality here. How important you think losing sugar is in someone's diet, 10 being the most important and 0 and 1 being the least important?
I would say it's the most important.
It is the most important.
It's a 10?
Is
it really a 10?
Because people are getting they're getting cholesterol issues, they're getting fatty liver disease, and all these things are coming because of.
Yeah, you look at every chronic disease we have, whether it's cancer, whether it's dementia, whether it's diabetes, heart disease, all of those. Number 1 is going to be the sugar intake.
But as you would always say, Deb, it's all about moderation. And unfortunately, all these foods, they're sneaking in all these
breakfast,
sugars,
lunch,
so
and dinner, and
really
snacks.
Can't. I mean, it's almost you're making your own.
That, and there are a lot of us who just, are bad managers of moderation. It's your moderation and my moderation are 2 different levels. So.
Right.
Well, but on all your cells in your body, what happens is when your body is bombarded with all the sugar, it says, well, there's so much, so we need to have fewer receptor sites on the cell. So then what happens is you get all this excess sugar floating in the bloodstream that can't get into your cells. So that's what causes the elevated blood sugar levels. And when it sits in your bloodstream, it starts to damage and oxidize. And that's what all these diseases.
In fact, they call it, they've got an acronym for that. It's called AGES. It's advanced glycation. So it is actually rusting. The sugars are rusting the cells, causing aging. So if you want an anti-aging supplement, get rid of sugar.
Yeah. And if you want to be the oldest parent and, at school and you want to look the most mature, then have lots of sugar.
Right. All right. Well, there it is. Another Today's Nutrition on Unforgettable 1220 and Classic Hits 99.7. Deb Ford, MSRD of the Good Earth Health Food Shop on South Shannon Street in Van Wert. And Dr. Ian Rainey, Doctor of Chiropractic. And I'm Chris Roberts. Have a great week.